Now, finally, we got everything working. Tech is going, right? We're good.
All right,
Yes.
I got to call it a night, guys. I'm getting to bed. Head to bed.
That's great. That's great. We had technical issues. They're finally, and Mitch buggers off.
Wasting no time after an hour of tech issues. Welcome to another amazing episode
Yeah. So
of the Fake Philosophers.
Eddie, I've been sitting on this bit of news for a while. I told Mike, and actually the other time when we were going to go to the theater, I was going to tell you in person, but I'm moving to North Carolina.
Why?
Because I hate it here mostly.
Why? Oh. I thought you were gonna buy a house with your brother. That's the last time we spoke.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
No. My brother. My brother's getting married in July, and so that's fun. But no, my wife and I decided we're parting ways. I mean, not parting ways. We're parting with California. My wife and I are going to North Carolina. So
have you been there?
Oh yeah, yes. That's where she lived before she moved out here. So
okay. How long have you stayed there?
She lived there for a couple years, I think. But I haven't been there for longer than a couple weeks at a time. But yeah.
But the good stuff is that we have the remote recording down.
That's
pat.
Clearly, I've been a ways
so
away
we can
for
still
some
do
time.
This.
So I won't be the furthest away. Yeah,
No.
that Christmas episode's gonna. When are you guys moving?
October. Plan is moving in October. So.
Well, damn it! Well, you could be back for Christmas though and visit your parents. Are they gonna do the other thing? Gonna visit you.
This year, I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see how this year goes because it's a lot of things that gotta go. I mean, my parents still have to figure out what they're gonna do with the business and what they want to do if they want to continue the same way or hire someone. But
that's a good point. Because
we've talked about the woes of hiring and stuff. And
The fuck was that?
As we said,
here's a technical issue. We're fine.
That was a North Carolina earthquake.
That was crazy. No, I have a lamp kind of leaning here to give a little bit of light, and that fell. Anyway, yeah, no, that's the plan. The latest is I'm in talks with a company out there. He's gonna hopefully set me up with a pretty darn good job out there. So I'm working on that process right now. But yeah, so in a few months I'll be nothing but virtual, maybe the occasional in-person recording. So yeah.
Hopefully by then we actually will have it down.
Yeah, by then I'll buy an actual webcam and not just use my phone propped up with some duct tape.
Hey, whatever works.
I was this close to having to use my phone.
I wish I were lying about the duct tape. I literally do have. I'm not taped it to the wall or anything. I've found that a roll of duct tape will hold my phone inside the roll perfectly with the case or whatever. It grips it just perfectly. It's a redneck, tripod for you guys.
If it works, it works.
But
well, it's interesting because it occurred to me I'm working fully remote too. And with things being things are kind of settling down, but it occurred to me, I can live anywhere.
Yeah.
And that occurred to me. My son is getting stationed out here. That's going to keep me here for at least another year. He's going to be here, longer than a year. But I was just kind of debating that and looking around the country as well. But damn it, I like San Diego so far.
Yeah. Yeah. See, for me, it's like right now, the prospect, the way it's looking is that I'll be getting a job. My take home will be more than what it is now, and rent will be about 3/4 what it is now.
I was gonna say, yeah, the dollar will go a lot further there.
Yeah, and gas is about 1/4 of the price it is, and all that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's just all crazy, but we're pretty excited. So here's something to talk about. Fucking leaving California. We started getting some quotes about moving stuff. Like we were thinking about getting the pods, the storage pod things. You load your stuff up and go. We got a quote for a 16-footer because they only have either the 7-footer or the 16-footer to go out of state. So we're like, okay, whatever. 16-footer, all our stuff. How much is it going to cost? Well, from here to North Carolina for the first month, it's going to cost $7,500 for us to move all that stuff out. So
Yeah, moving ain't cheap.
Yeah, just to move to San Diego from Corona, it was $1,000.
Wow.
I didn't pay for it. Well, I paid for it at first and then got reimbursed. So
Well, even just the movers that we had, and that's just 2 or 3 cities over, that cost us
Yeah.
a little, about a G, maybe a little higher. I forgot.
When-
But it wasn't cheap.
So my wife and I started dating when she was living cross country, long distance, and then she moved out here. So I actually flew there and drove her car with all her stuff in it cross country. So now we're moving back, only this time with an apartment full of stuff. So just fun.
Have you thought of maybe, and this is just, I'm not sure if it's going to be cheaper in the long run, but like just getting a big ass U-Haul?
Yeah, right now that's the plan, is to get a U-Haul instead. U-Haul is about $5,000 because there'll be a U-Haul and a car. It'll be still like $2,500 cheaper. So
Yeah.
we're like, well, yeah, we'll have to pay for gas too. I'm like, yeah, but once we make it to Arizona, it's going to be just fine. So
Well, that
But,
sounds
yeah.
like fun.
okay, so besides a pod, what other companies did you call?
we looked into there was the only other one as far as like the moving container stuff. I forget what it was called, but that one was a little bit cheaper. I forget what it was called, but it was some trailer thing. So instead of, I think it's an actual trailer they come and drop off in your driveway. So I don't know.
The last big move I had was driving off. It was a long time ago, and it was military funded. But it was off of Andrews Air Force Base all the way out to California. Everything got loaded onto a truck, and then we just kind of took a little vacation. And as far as I remember, the stuff was here when we got here, and that was that was one of the big companies on a big truck.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm not sure what the price difference would be, but $7,000, that might be the best you're gonna do too.
Yeah, I mean, and we're kind of like, holy crap. Okay, so like we're looking at our finances now and everything. We're like, okay, we could do it, and we'd not be in the best spot, but we could do it, get it done like right now if we had to. And so luckily we have a few months to figure it out. But yeah.
Put some money aside.
But
So you're moving in October. Yeah, that should be plenty of planning anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean,
you've got a lot of people moving anyway. Yeah.
Unless like the job I'm applying for is like, yeah, we'll give you a bonus if you sign right now. I'll be like, all right, well, sorry, mom and dad, we'll see you later. But
Bye.
So do you have a job? You have a job.
right now, yeah. No, I mean, oh, you mean over there?
Yes.
I'm submitted. I spoke to a contact, a guy that used to live here that lives over there now, for a company where I'd be doing essentially the same thing I'm doing now, but for basically a national corporation rather than just a small business. And he said, yeah, I mean, send the resume in, we'll get you streamlined, we'll get you hired on. I mean, you could start now, you could start in a few months. So
Did you get an interview?
we did a phone chat. But I still haven't submitted a resume yet. It was just kind of like a thing where I knew him and I had his contact info. So I called him and we chatted for a bit. So, but he essentially
Why not ask them about moving costs?
He hinted that could be a possibility.
Okay.
He's like, he can't officially say anything yet until HR comes back and gives me an offer letter and all that. So yeah.
Before you start, it's a good thing to plan, but have that in mind too. Have that in mind too. And my free and clear date was the catch to me moving down here was that I had to wait a year without any hiccups. So it's like after that date passed, I was like, shh, and I lasted 2 years, and so that's how it got covered. So they'll give you something. For instance, they were going to give me a hotel room just to stay down here and make sure, and I didn't accept it. That was me driving back and forth to Camp Pendleton from Corona.
Oh,
but
wow,
during the height of the pandemic, it was okay, and gas was not cheap. Nobody's on the freeway, and so I could drive back and forth. So I took that and then just said, "Ooh, goodness, I have to move," and then I negotiated that. So it would have been I had to wait 6 months to live in a hotel room close to Camp Pendleton or close to Miramar. But then again, I negotiated just help me move, and that they said, okay, keep your nose clean for a year. You have to stay with us for a year, and it's all good. So that's how it worked out. Just a heads up.
Okay.
For
yeah.
you,
well, yeah.
That's for Mitch and everybody watching.
Yeah, that's
thinking
about
move to
moving.
North Carolina, or Maine, or
Maine.
Pacoima, yeah,
or Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Sheboygan.
You got to be make sure when you look into those moving companies. Because I remember when my in-laws, they moved from Maryland to Portland, and they were telling me that like the trucking company that they use, the moving company, like their window of when the truck would show up was like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Like maybe 2 or 3 weeks of like, yeah, your truck will show up between March 7th and March 27th. Somewhere in there.
What's funny about that? Pods says, we'll pick up all your stuff, give us a week to transport it, and then once it's in North Carolina, give us 24 hours notice. So they're like a day or two out.
Yeah,
if you need.
I've heard nothing but good thing about Pods, that company.
Right. So you do get. I guess you pay what you get. You do get what you pay for. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, it's kind of a no-brainer at this point. It's cost effectiveness. You could get it done. It's going to cost you, but it's like a fine wine. Sometimes it's not what you get, what you pay for. You get what you get, what you don't pay, or what is it?
Yeah,
you pay for what you don't get, or never mind.
It's the ease of knowing your stuff's in a container, safe, and all you have to worry about is just your little car driving across country, and then you can just kind of relax, knowing all your stuff's going to get there. And if it doesn't, you got a backup plan, and it's a reasonable time frame, not 3 weeks. Yeah. Right. So
it's insured, because that's the worst if you're moving your own shit and shit breaks.
That's true.
Then you're just fucked.
True.
Yeah, it's your fault.
But when it comes to a $2,500 difference between a U-Haul, and it's a 15-foot U-Haul and a tow dolly. Mm-hmm. So it'll be fun driving that across country. Or do I spend $2,000 more and do a Pods? So it's and still drive across country in the car. So it's kind of.
You also get peace of mind, but then again, also look at it that way. Yeah, you're spending an extra $2,500, but then again, you guys get to enjoy a cross-country trip together. You focus on that and not moving your items. You worry about that when you get there.
This episode brought to you by Pods. When you need a movement and it's just too big, pay the money. Pods. They'll move your shit.
I mean, Eddie kind of hits on the point. You could consider it $2,500 week vacation.
Yeah,
you kind of consider it that way.
That's true. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that would be nice too, as a break between. Yeah, and then it is kind of like a vacation because it's leaving one job, going to another, and really taking a moment and kind of, I'm in denial. I'm internalizing it all because I grew up in California and I've never lived farther than, a half a day's drive from my parents. And, it's like goodbye everything 2,000 miles away. I'm internalizing it all. It's like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So I'm waiting for it to all just explode in like a violent alcoholic rage at some point. But I'm not going to deal with that right now. So it'll be nice to have like a break between the two to deal with all that. And so we're praying for my wife that, she'll be okay. But
well, you're doing it for a reason. You're doing it for cost of living, presumably.
Yeah.
And at the prospect. So you're looking at moving. Are you going to move whether you get the job or not, or just, throw some dice in the air and.
Yeah, we're moving whether I get it or not. It is mostly prospect kind of thing. Cause she and I are like, we'd like to start thinking about buying a house. We'd like to think about having kids and, and building a community. And it's kind of like, okay, well, we have great friends here. We have good family here. But as far as owning a house and having a yard and having kids, it's like, well, we should be doing it in probably a better place. So that's kind of
what's wrong with Rancho?
Truck got...
What's wrong with Etowanda?
it's $500,000, $750,000 houses, and you still get homeless walking through the streets. And it's
What's wrong? What's wrong with Fontucky?
how long have you got? But
Yeah.
so yeah, and I could get into, I mean, go back and watch our coverage of the Gavin Newsom recall, episode, and you'll pretty much get my opinion on California as a whole.
Well, I'm having to move too. I got a real frickin' steal. I'll admit I got a steal, and now, well, I got no punches to pull because I'm moving out. The landlord this area is interesting. You got logistics. I mean, it's a fantastic area. It's safe. It's I'm right next to a trolley station. It did matter when I was an inpatient. I'm right across the damn street from the hospital. I walk my ass back and forth on my own recognizance. Didn't have to pay for parking. Kind of nice. But yeah, after spending 2 years here, last year the landlord raised the rent about $100, and now it's like a 70% increase. And I can afford that, but it's like I don't want to spend that on
70%?
housing. Oh, and by 70%. Oh, and by the way, I work remotely, so it's what the hell? So
Woof.
it's interesting what becomes important, because it's like, well, I am in acting class and I could move closer to there, and that's really the only thing I'm commuting for.
Yeah.
So, and there was a period where I wanted to be like one of the cool kids too, and live downtown, close to everything. Rent minimum is going to be like $3,000 and what have you, and I can afford that. But and I was kind of in for that, quite honestly. Yeah, okay, it's like never lived in a big city, whatever. But here's the thing: it's like, okay, smaller space can deal with that. Yeah, taller building can deal with that, but leaving the building and then all my stuff, like if there's a garage space, that's not safe because it shows locks, just doesn't hinge. You take a hammer and you get your stuff stolen. And then, but the biggest no-brainer for me is that walking out of that $3,000 a month apartment and then having the potential of stepping in human feces. It's like, that's where I draw the line. So I have my limits. They're not 3,000. They're like, and it's feasible. It's just my things are, I want it quiet. I want it safe. And, as close to the beach as I can get it. Not important. And if I can't get close to the beach, close to where I do acting class.
Yeah, see, and then that's the thing is most of the big draws to California, all the positives of California, things like the weather, the beach, the city life, I guess you could say, the culture of San Fran and LA and San Diego and all that, like the different cultures, they've all been things I never really vibed with as much as everyone else does. It's like nice to visit and see every now and then, but it's never been a must have for me. I've been happiest when I'm in the mountains or away from all the people and all that, things that you need to drive 5 hours to get to. So it's so I see the appeal. It's just not my vibes, and that's just kind of like a personal opinion kind of thing. But I will miss In-N-Out big time, and I wish I were joking about that, but In-N-Out's a real craving for me. So that'll be rough.
It's kind of funny. A lot of people say that, and I think it is kind of like because it's a norm. It's not like so. I don't think it sounds silly. I think because it's a norm for you.
And especially because, like you guys know, I'm my work on the road. My office is my truck. There's no bathroom in my truck, but In-N-Out every time, guaranteed good food at a good price and a clean ass bathroom. In-N-Out. It's the best.
Bathroom.
A clean bathroom. Reliant every time. There's a good bathroom in an In-N-Out. Reliable every time. I'm sorry. I'm out of it today, guys. I'm sorry.
No, you can. No, but it is kind of funny because even I remember when I went to college, I got into a routine of eating.
Where did you go to college?
I went to college in Las Vegas. Did I ever mention that?
Oh.
But no, there was a couple restaurants like around the campus that I would go to on a regular basis, like all the time. And then when I graduated and moved back to California, God damn it, Eddie, what are you doing?
What?
His other thing appeared on the Zoom.
But technical stuff.
I came back to California, and those routines were obviously stopped because they were like local spots. And it does sound silly, like you're like, I'm gonna miss In-N-Out, but like it's legit, especially if that's like such a thing that you do a lot.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's gone.
When my sister moved to Washington, it's something she still struggles with. She's still like, yeah, every time I visit, I have to go to In-N-Out. And yeah, I love In-N-Out, whatever. But one thing she really struggles with that she did not foresee is even in Washington, she cannot for the life of her find a good Mexican food restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
It's all black beans, cilantro, pineapple salsa and shit, whatever they do with the, you know.
I got you.
So the guy I was on the phone with, for this job I might get, I was talking to him because he grew up in California and he moved out to North Carolina a few years ago. So he was talking and he's like, oh yeah, I miss my friends and I miss the Mexican food, man. I was like, I'm telling you. And he's like, yeah, it's all black beans and shit out here. I want lard in my beans, man. And I want real carne asada, not steak. I want carne asada. There's a difference. It was really funny.
I want to taste the sweat of the guy behind the grill in my taco.
I noticed a difference when I was in Texas for a spell. It's like, no, this ain't Mexican food. This is Tex-Mex. And it's like, you want
Tex-Mex.
like Mexican food.
Tex-Mex, it's hamburger helper with Tabasco and some jalapenos. That's Tex-Mex, man.
It's not what it is here, and you discover it going other places. But interestingly enough, my son took a trip to Savannah, Georgia, over Memorial Day weekend, and I was surprised he could find boba.
Really? Okay.
So it's might be more eclectic. I don't know. Your wife lived there, so she has a better gauge on that. But
yeah,
things are becoming interestingly more eclectic. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I mean the place we're probably going to be moving to is like a very developing city. The guy I talked to said I could put you anywhere in North Carolina and give you a job anywhere in North Carolina. But where I'm at, this town called Raleigh, North Carolina, it's booming. Like you could go to Charlotte, that's like a good hub there, but Raleigh is really booming. And he was telling me about like just the difference in house prices from just a couple of years ago as like an indicator of just the growing population there, how many apartment buildings they've been building. So it's like if you want to get like on the ground floor, so to speak, about a place that's kind of developing, it's the place to go. And it's not, and it's, you can, a suburb, you'll have to live in like the suburbs of it. Sometimes you'll hit traffic and then come to find out that traffic in North Carolina means a 20 minutes of slowing down traffic. I'm like, what?
I will say on that, I do like when people from like the smaller cities do say like, there's some traffic, but you'll get used to that. And it's like, okay, got it. I'll get used to it.
Every time someone bitches about traffic who isn't in California, anytime someone out of state says, oh yeah, traffic's really bad, I immediately think of Dark Knight Rises when Bane is talking about, you use darkness as your ally. I was born in the darkness, raised by it, molded by it. That's me in traffic, man. We were raised in this shit.
Worst traffic I've ever had down here. It was close to Christmas, raining, accident on every route that I had to get to, and it was an hour, and that was what I leave at 6, and I leave at 6:30, so I got to class, which starts at 7:30, and that was everyone was in traffic. That's only happened once. So my commute to class should be about 15 to 17 minutes, no traffic. And then like usually, if I have to leave at 5, it's a half hour. And then if I leave at 6, it's like, 20 minutes.
Wow.
And it just, traffic.
Mm-hmm. What is the worst traffic story you've ever had? Do you remember like the day you look back as like, that was the worst day of traffic I ever had?
There's the worst day of traffic, and there's the stupidest thing I ever did because I thought it would be a good idea. So go ahead, Mike.
How is that related?
What, like, did you pee in traffic?
Okay, so.
I've done that.
How's that related?
So because there are situations and you say, well, I'm going to take the long way home and do it Supertramp style.
Okay.
So I dropped and I should have fought back on this. I didn't. I was living in Glendora, and, my son was living in Monrovia, and he was, kindergarten at the time or younger. So I'm on my way from Glendora to Monrovia, and as I'm passing, I notice a tanker going the opposite way, and it's frickin' on its side, blocking every single lane on the 210 going eastbound. And I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do? And then I dropped my son off at his grandparents' house. They lived in Bradbury. And then, the former mother-in-law says, I don't know what you're gonna do. And I'm like, I'll figure it out. So I get on the phone. This is pre-smartphone. And I say, you know what? I'm going to be smart about this. So I have a friend who's on MapQuest. Can you tell what I'm going to do yet? I say, okay, I need you on the phone, but how do you see the traffic? There's a tanker overturn. I'm just going to go through Angeles Crest and then go the long way to get to Glendora. So it's either sit on the freeway for 1, 2. Who gets that tanker out of the way? So I went the long way, Angeles Crest, Palmdale, whatever, all the way around till I got to the 15 just to get to frickin' Glendora.
Wow.
And when I
you
got
could have
home,
walked you could have walked faster, man.
Why did
I
you
went
take
through some
surface
sketchy
streets?
areas. Every surface street's closed if the tanker is on its frickin' side. But what I could have, it's also traffic. It's the height of traffic coming home. On a weekday. So if you've got one artery closed, every other surface street is going to back up too.
Yeah,
and
but
that's doing a commute. So
Hey, he's not saying it was the smartest move. He said that it was probably
he admitted it. He
admitted it.
It wasn't the smartest move, but I got home and there was no traffic. There was no traffic. Right?
I guess you have a point. You have a point.
But I didn't look, again, this is pre-smartphone and everything, and it just seemed like, well, you're going to get some spillage everywhere else.
So that probably took you, what, like 2-3 hours?
Yeah, 2.5, 3. Yeah. That was an interesting little,
I'm sure it was a great
I never
drive.
stopped.
Yeah.
It was an interesting little sojourn. One that I didn't expect to take, and I just need to turn on KFI or something like that in the future. Is the play? That was the lesson. Now that I have traffic on my phone, on my computer, it's like, I look at traffic in case anything like that happens, and I could just text people and tell people. So, that's why I wanted you to go first, Glennie, because how do you beat that?
I've talked to my dad before about because the trip home from Malibu to Rancho is about a 70-mile drive, maybe.
Sounds all right.
It takes 2.5 hours every time, no matter what. Unless you leave before noon, if you're leaving out, it's going to be over 2 hours, maybe 3. So it's just kind of. But I tell my dad I would rather do the 5-hour drive to Mammoth than that 2-hour drive from Malibu, because 5 hours in just open road versus 2 hours in stop and go. 2 hours in stop and go, you start losing your mind.
It wears you down. Yeah, it wears you down.
Oh man! And then coming home from not Mammoth, Big Bear, went over a holiday weekend. That sucks.
I had someone tattle on me once.
Where are you gonna run? Where are you gonna run? You can't run. It's a frickin' mountain road, one lane. You can't run.
Mm-hmm.
I had someone tattle on me.
You had somebody tattle on you? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was coming down from Big Bear, and a passing, it was blocked up because it was like some holiday weekend and snow was coming in, so everyone's bailing out of Big Bear. And my brother and I were coming back from a camping trip, and it was stop and go until we finally hit a passing lane zone. And so I went because I'm going pretty fast here, and this dude pulled out in front of me and proceeded to go about 40 miles per hour. And so he just stopped the whole passing lane. So I almost hit him, and I flashed my flashes at him. Then he brake checked me and flipped me off. Nice. Actually, he might have flipped. I don't know if he flipped me off. And then later, I saw him down the hill come up alongside me. He saw the company name on the side of the truck, and he called the office and said, this psycho almost ran me and my family off the road.
And you got an immediate call.
So my mom's like, did you what happened there? And I'm like, okay.
You get a call from mom. Yeah.
My brother was in the car. He can vouch for me. He could tell me this dude pulled out and was going slow in the left lane, and I almost hit him, and he brake checked me. And mom's like, okay. And then she asked my brother, and he's like, okay, your story checks out. You're right.
You're
and I'm
fired.
like, next time he calls, patch him through to me.
Yes,
I'll talk
that's
to him.
what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say.
But I did feel bad. I was like, yeah, I mean, I could have slowed down, but anyway. Mike, do you have a terrible traffic day?
I have a couple. I'm trying to
Like one that sticks out.
Well, they all stick out for different reasons.
Not that I don't want to hear all your stories.
Your traffic stories.
So I'll tell this one because Eddie was kind of involved in this one.
Oh shit.
And it wasn't. So I wasn't necessarily in the traffic, but so when I did live in Vegas, a lot of times I'd come down on a Friday because coming back from Vegas on a Friday, no traffic. And then I leave on Sunday because everyone's coming back from Vegas on Sunday. So going to Vegas on Sunday, no traffic. So I'm going back home to Vegas on a Sunday, and I had to take a piss. So I pulled off at Baker, as you do. I would stop in Baker a lot actually, and I pulled off.
Is this where the daytime stripper was?
No.
Oh, different.
That was like in Apple Valley or some shit.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me. Anyways.
Different story. We already covered in the previous episode. No, so we pulled off at Baker. To those people who don't know, Baker is like the last stop in California before you get to like Vegas or I guess State Line. But it's a small little town. I don't even know the population. It can't be more than a couple hundred. But there's like a lot of gas stations, fast food, etc. And so I stopped off at a gas station, took a piss, I grabbed like a soda, some snacks, and I step out, and from that strip, you can see, and Eddie's been up there enough to know, you could see the 15 freeway going to Vegas from almost any gas station. So I got lucky because I pulled off to take a piss, I guess right when like a big fucking car accident happened like some miles up the road. So by the time I got out of the bathroom, like I could see the back, like the cars backed up for miles, for either way that the eye could see, as far as the eye could see. I'm sorry, and I was like, "Fuck me," because I had this is like maybe around 6 o'clock, and I had a big project I had to get done that night for a class the next day, and I was like, "Fuck." And so I go back inside, and I'm talking to this guy at the gas station. They had like a tourist thing for Vegas. And I'm talking to him, like, hey, man, do you know any shortcuts or any fucking way at it, like, to get around this? And he drops a map down, and he plots out a thing, gives me a map, like, to go through the desert. And this is, I think I called Eddie, and then Eddie suggested going through Death Valley towards Pahrump. Mm-hmm. And then from Pahrump going to Vegas. And I think that was like a 2-hour drive. I forgot. And then, so I think I talked to Eddie first, and then I asked the guy inside about it. And he told me to go the other way from the 15 towards, Mitch, do you know where like Kelso or SEMA is?
Kinda.
Yeah.
But so he suggested going that way. And this was kind of before like Waze or like navigation systems on your phone. Like you could look at maps kind of, but not like navigating. And so after looking at the maps, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the Kelso route, only because it was faster. And so I looked at the map, and the guy was like, just make sure you take, I think the turn was like at SEMA Road. Make sure you turn at SEMA Road, or else you're going to find yourself in Arizona. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, like if you don't make that, it's the only, like if you don't make that turn, like an hour later, you're going to be in Arizona. So you have to make that turn. And I was like, okay, got it.
Shit.
And then he said something like, and then you take a left on, I forgot the street name, but you take then after you'll hit this other town called SEMA, and you have to take a left on whatever street it was. And yeah, so you have to make sure, and that'll take you back to the freeway past the accident. And I was like, okay, cool. So as I'm like going out on the road is when it starts getting dark. And within 10 minutes of going this road in the desert, I lose reception in my phone as well. And it's like fucking dark as shit. Some pickup truck came flying behind me and just like flew past me. And I was like, this is Hills Have Eyes. This guy just sent me to die. And so I do remember like it was kind of a ghost. It was a ghost, literally a ghost town out there. I think it was Kelso. I came up and I was kind of looking around. I just saw a road. There was no sign or anything. And I was like, this guy said I had to turn left. I'm just turning left on this road. And I turned left, not knowing if it was the right road. Probably like half hour more down that road, hoping I'm going the right way. And I come across like another little town. I don't think it was like ghost town because there was a couple lights on. And I could be remembering this wrong, but I came to like an intersection and there was like 4 different roads I could go down. So when you say turn left, it's not like there's one left. There's like kind of two left. You know what I mean?
Still no
the road-
reception on your phone?
I had no reception on my phone this whole time.
Nice.
So I kind of just rolled the dice and I took like the second left, not the immediate left, but the second left. If that makes sense. And just started going, and I couldn't see shit. Like, it was just dark as fuck. Couldn't see shit, and then eventually I hit the freeway, and it was about maybe like an hour total. And so it's not like a horrible traffic story per
But
se,
stressful.
but it was very stressful, and I was really tripping because I couldn't, no reception. I couldn't see shit because it was so dark. So when I saw the freeway, I was like, thank God.
Yeah. My worst, because I've been driving for 10 years, traffic every day, whatever. But my absolute worst actually happened just last year. It was right before Christmas. It was during the Christmas rush coming down. So it was like a weekend before Christmas or something, Friday. I was coming from Death Valley, taking the 15 down. And it was raining, and it was all the traffic coming in from Nevada. So it was, I think, a total, what is normally about an hour and a half drive, hour and a half, 2 hours. Took me 4 hours to get back, going down the 15 in rain, in stop and go traffic the whole way down. It was brutal. It was brutal. I like ran out of gas and had to stop at Cajon Pass. Like, and Cajon Pass from Cajon Pass to Rancho is like, what, 10-mile drive, something like that. But I was in my new truck and I didn't know if like the gas meter was going to last. And it's in a V8, so it's getting like 13 gallons to the mile. And so I'm like, no, I need to stop. So I'm pulling off Cajon Pass at one of those gas stations there next to that McDonald's over there. Jam-packed full of people of all the gas stations, still pissing down rain. And like, it was driving me insane. And I've never wanted to go postal as dearly as I did that day because people were like stopped in gas stations, not pumping gas, but just stopped in the gas station ports. And I'm like, I just need a gallon and then I'm out of here. But they're just parked in there, reclined back, just waiting. And I don't know what they were doing. I was losing my mind.
I've seen that, not like in a rainy situation like that, but I've just seen that where like the gas station is busy. Yeah. And someone's just chilling at one of the ports.
It drives me fucking, because I know the driver's inside taking a shit is what's happening. But anyway, it was one of those that like, of all the years driving, that one stood out the absolute worst. The next day, thank God, was a Saturday because I was in bed the whole day recovering.
Sure.
It was terrible. I sound like a pussy, but it was 4 hours after a day of work too, so I was done. But yeah, it was fun. But anyway, traffic stories. What's better than a podcast listening to guys talk about traffic?
Well, yeah. Share this. Let me share screen. Or let my computer share the screen because we're doing audio.
It went away.
So that one, where? Okay.
I don't know where. Can you try to request it again?
It says host is disabled. Participant screen sharing.
I didn't. I just don't know how to say okay.
Enable.
While we work on that, I got a segment for you guys. I can't remember if I've done this one before, but it's a game I call Sophie's Choice. I know I've mentioned it to you guys before. The rules of the game is I give you two options. You got to pick one that you keep, and the other one will disappear forever. You'll never see it again.
Now I'm like really curious. To hell with what I was gonna do.
If you've seen the movie Sophie's Choice, if you haven't seen the movie Sophie's Choice, go see it. Hilarious. It's a good, it's a real
feel good family.
It's
comedy.
A good family date night movie. It's just great. Anyway, so the rule is you have to pick one. The other one disappears forever. You'll never see it again. So it could be all kinds of things like hamburgers or pizza, burritos or tacos or whatever. So it doesn't always have to be food, but this one just happens to be food. Beer or spirits. One you keep, the other one you will never ever see again. What's it gonna be?
I'll let go of beer because you can do so much more with spirits. Yeah.
You're true. That's true.
I would keep. I originally wrote beer or whiskey because I only really ever drink whiskey with Scotch, bourbon, rye, whiskey, whatever. So I was gonna say beer or whiskey, and I know Mike, you're a whiskey drinker too. But I think spirits would be a little bit more broad, but because we're talking all beers, whatever. So yeah, so I would go with whiskey. I think I would let beer go and stick with spirits. Yeah, it's healthier.
As much as I like, in my head, at first I was rationalizing like, well, technically, like with beer, you could still have cider. You can say that mead is part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything fermented, if you will. But then Eddie kind of made a point with spirits. It's a lot more diverse, and you could do a lot more with it.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I want to be stubborn and say I would keep beer, I would probably keep spirits as well.
Okay, we're in agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So that is Sophie's Choice, Mitch's version of Kill Bang Marry.
Thank you. Well, okay, so honestly, I want to go back and
I enabled
revisit.
screen sharing.
Yeah, you did.
Wait, you guys weren't working on that? That was a full filler. Oh, wait, here we go.
Yeah, and
Now
no,
I see it.
where the
Okay.
hell did you go?
No,
Oh,
shit, he's trying to
can I-
find the route.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was Kel Baker. That's the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So scroll. So your
Damn,
screen
okay,
share
let's-
is all sorts of weird.
Let's get.
Wow.
So wow, you went through all that?
Yeah. So it's Kel Baker.
How could you pass the frickin' Mojave Desert tube? Look at that.
The lava
You passed
tube.
that? And geez, okay,
so that must have been
here's
that's it
turn.
right there.
There's nothing out. No wonder you lost cell reception.
I think that's a train track.
And then was
Okay.
it there? I think it might have been there.
Wow, you
Yeah,
did this
SEMA.
at night?
SEMA was where I turned left.
SEMA. Okay.
So you did not get kidnapped and raped?
No, I made it.
Just-
I made it through.
Just raped.
Oh, and then okay, so you're back at. Okay,
Yeah, that was the route.
that's not.
Okay.
That's not so bad.
Yeah, looking at it from here, it looks fine.
How long did that take you?
It took me roughly an hour.
Roughly an hour. This would have taken you 2 to. I'm good with the 2 to 3 hours, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all I could say is I'm not advocating anything, but this is a great place to have a radar detector, like I may or may not have when I went there last 4th of July. But
So
yeah.
Eddie, I don't know if you remember, but the first time I've ever driven with you was when you and I went to Vegas to watch that pre-screening.
Yeah, I remember the time. Yeah.
You picked me up from Chaffey College because I was going there at the time. I had all my stuff with me. We were going up for a couple nights, or just one night. I think it was just one night. I don't remember, but
I think it was just one night.
yeah. And so Eddie picks me up, and we start heading on up to Vegas. And what would be a normal route from Rancho to Vegas? Would
15.
be what?
15.
I mean, time wise, like how long would it take?
3 hours?
2 hours? 3 hours? I remember whatever it should have been, we got there in half the time because Eddie had his radar scanner and he was averaging 90 like the whole time. It was so much fun. I was losing my shit. Looking back on it, it was a lot of fun. But
Sure, in the moment.
no, but it was funny because you were blazing along, and this is at the time when the scanners were like brand new, like the to civilians, it was brand new. And because we'd be flying, all of a sudden he'd slow way down, and he's like, "Where is it? Where is it? There it is! There it is! There it is!" And then he'd gun it and take off again. It was,
And
my dumbass gets on the phone with my mom when I get there. I'm like, "Yeah, we got here in like an hour and a half." She's like, "What the fuck?"
Who was driving?
just so we're clear, this is
yeah.
the route we took. It should
Yeah.
take from Chaffey College. It should take 3 hours 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I never-
drive
I never
safely.
blazed
Drive
that.
safely. Obey all traffic laws.
I think the quickest I made it was
yeah.
2.5.
Because we don't want to get sued unless you have the number on the side of Mitch's truck. Then call that at your
Yeah.
call that as much as you like.
There was when
Yeah,
my lady and I were living in Simi Valley. We were going to a wedding on a Saturday, but I was in the wedding party, so we were going to Ranch. It was a Friday afternoon. This is our mistake, but the wedding rehearsal was at night, so we left Simi Valley probably around like 2 or 3, and there was a car accident, and it's just a Friday afternoon going eastbound on the 210, and it took like 5 hours to get from Simi Valley to Rancho, and it was
Yeah.
miserable the entire fucking time.
Yeah.
That's
It's
something
rough.
to be miserable about.
It's rough when I'm coming back from working in Bishop or Mammoth or something, because from Bishop down 395 to the 15 to Rancho is normally no traffic, a 4-hour drive. But when I'm coming back at the end of the week, like on a Friday or something, it's 3 hours of driving open road. It's all good. So about the time you start getting irritated and done with driving, boom, you hit the 15, boom, you hit traffic. So that last half hour, 45 minutes is just stop and go traffic after you've been driving for 3 hours. It, yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Well, there's also like self-imposed factors like that. Last time I drove to Vegas on July 3rd, had a great night, just setting off fireworks. I get back to the hotel and I can't freaking sleep, and I decided to play a little Pai Gow poker, and it's like, dude, okay, am I still like hungover? No, I'm not hungover, but I haven't slept. And so it's like, well, okay, I'll freaking beat traffic. No problem with this. I get out, and the traffic now, this never happened when I was growing up. The traffic, and it was bad for just being even the weekend commute on Sunday. It was 7 a.m, and the traffic started at Jean, Nevada. It started at Jean, Nevada. And it took me an hour and a half to get to State Line, just to get to State Line.
No, thank you.
So I tap out. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm just going to call in next day to work. I went to frickin' Whiskey Pete's. I went to Prim Valley. Buffalo Bill's wasn't open. And none of them had rooms. And I'm like, WTF. So I'm like, I'm screwed. But you know what? What I ended up doing, I just went in the parking garage of Prim Valley. I'm going to call it Prima Donna. And I just
always call it Prima Donna, yeah.
I just slept there. And I catnap half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. Woke up sweating. I was like, I feel a lot better. I'm going to go Starbucks, get some espresso in the coffee, get, a little overpriced bagel or whatever. And then I did that, and it was still, kind of agonizing, but I made it home. And let me tell you, I pass Rancho and I pass where I used to live, and then it's another hour, and I am sleep deprived. That was not fun. So I just say, I'm going to pay the premium. I'm going to do wondrous things like use an airplane and then get back at 10 in the morning. It's like, whoa, yeah. I missed alien jerky, but I'm a better person for it.
Yeah. It's not the same as traffic, but it was still fucking irritating, especially when you're talking about the self-imposed shit. Mm-hmm. So me and Miguel, some time ago, I think we were visiting her parents or we were going to a wedding or something. But we had a layover in San Francisco. And I think it was only supposed to be like an hour layover, just a quick one. So our plane lands, and then when we go to the gate, we find out that due to winds, our flight got delayed like another hour or an hour and a half or something. And so we're like, okay. And then, and I was part of it too, but she was like, wait, like there's another flight in about half an hour. Should I see if we can get transferred to it? And at the time it was like, yeah, like they're not delayed. Let's see if we can get transferred to it. And so she talks to the people at the desk. They transfer us. Everything's cool. And then literally like 5 minutes after that's complete, that flight got delayed like 2.5 hours. And so she went back to the counter and was like, hey, is there any way? And I guess in the time that we transferred our flight, someone else transferred to our flight and took our spots.
Nice.
So we extended our delay for about an hour and a half. And so that was just kind of like just stuck at the fucking airport.
Yeah.
There's worse places to be stuck.
That's true. I think a part of it is kind of like when you're stuck in traffic, it's just like you're not in control. Like you're just at the mercy of whatever your environment is.
True.
I don't like that.
Okay, so you were in your, I'm sorry, I'm not, because I just heard airport, but you're stuck in traffic at the airport or on the route to it. I'm sorry.
Because we're talking about getting stuck in traffic, so it's not the same thing. But we had a layover in San Francisco, and our flight got delayed, so we transferred to another flight, and that one got delayed longer.
Were you on the flight or in the terminal?
We were in the terminal.
Oh,
so okay. It wasn't like we were stuck on the plane. Don't get me wrong, but it's still just the idea that you don't like you're stuck, and there's nothing you can do about it. Mm-hmm. That always makes me feel uncomfortable. Like if I know,
options.
Yeah, but like, it's like one of those things. If I know, for instance, recently, I took a flight. Well, different thing, but like, I paid for a flight direct to Portland, and like a week before, they just sent me an email saying like, "Oh, hey, by the way, that flight was canceled. So here's your new itinerary." And I had like a 2.5 hour layover in Seattle, and then flew back down to Portland. So it sucked. It was out of my control, but at least I knew going into it, I had that going on. So when you fly to an airport and your flight is delayed and you're stuck, like it's one thing if you drive to LAX and you find out your flight's delayed 3 hours, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go home, whatever. Maybe not LAX, but one of the smaller airports, you know what I mean. But when you fly for a layover and you find out at the layover that you're delayed for a couple hours, you're not mentally there.
Yeah.
And so it's like out of your control. I don't like that shit. It makes me very uncomfortable.
I was stuck on a plane in Europe. I'm about to leave Germany, and then we're on an Air Canada flight, and there's something, our flight's been delayed. We haven't taken off yet because the radar system for all of Europe has broken down. So we're just going to wait on the tarmac until it comes back up. In the meantime, we're going to put on the bird cage. It's like... But it was cool because I was sitting next to somebody who had dual citizenship. She had an American passport and like 5 Russian passports. And then, it's a great place to get music translated, sitting next to Kate Chernyenko, or I forgot her name. It's written down someplace. But, I was sitting next to somebody cool, so it wasn't too bad.
How long was that
So
delayed
waiting. About 3.5 hours. You just got to cross your fingers at that point.
I've never been on one of those delays when you're stuck on the plane. I've been fortunate to where you can either get off the plane or I'm in the terminal already. But
one interjection: Air Canada flight. I think the layover this time was in Toronto. Yeah, it was in Toronto. I get off the plane because it's Air Canada to get on the LA flight, and then I'm standing next to this woman, and then I hear like I forgot her name. What her name was? I'll call her Elise. Hey, Elise. How you doing? And then ups to me. I don't know if this name's going to mean anything, but Jason Priestley walks up to this woman and starts talking to her. And I'm like, hey, he's not talking to me, but I was just like, Jason Presley. And he was on my flight because he's headed back to LA too. Do you even know who Jason Presley is?
I know the name.
Yeah, he's
Mitch?
an actor. Yeah, he's an actor.
In what?
I'm trying to think of what he's been in.
It involves a zip code.
Oh, he was the pretty boy in Beverly Hills, the
Yes.
90210. Yeah.
Exactly. So
I was like, I heard the name, and I kept picturing, what's his name? The other guy that died.
that one.
Luke.
Patrick Swayze?
No, the one that was in...
Luke
he was
Perry.
in
Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah, Luke Perry. Luke Perry.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
No, he was the other pretty boy. Luke Perry was kind of like the rough, cool guy. This was like the pretty boy that everyone's like, no, he's straight.
That wasn't the Sharknado guy, was it?
No.
That was Dr. Phil.
No.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think we're going to go with the pods, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. And this is a wonderful podcast for our viewers listening to how to move. And then, story sitting in traffic. I mean, how can we do know why we don't have sponsors at this point, except pods. Because if you're stuck in traffic, you could just load your stuff and you could load your car into a pod and then have them get you home.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Okay.
It's a loophole. I will say there's nothing worse than a long road trip like that and then you get stuck in traffic somewhere like in Nebraska.
We did. We when we drove her, when she moved out here, we were in Oklahoma City and an ice storm blew through. Literally, it was like raining, and then once the rain landed, it froze. So it was a weird, crazy thing that was going on. So it was Oklahoma, so it was windy, and it was freezing at night, and we were trying to find our hotel, and our room wasn't ready when we got there. We had to wait an hour. We're like, let's go get some food. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible, but it was fine.
When I drove my gal across the country, it wasn't an ice storm, but I think it was in Missouri. It was still interesting. Like, we kind of saw like the storm cloud like off in the distance, and I was like, oh, like there's a storm ahead, cool, whatever. And but like while I was still out in the distance, it felt like something like a rock just hit the car, and it was just a wind. And I was like, holy shit. And like to where it knocked my phone out of my hand because I was gonna like look up traffic or look up weather.
You were texting, you prick.
No, I was literally gonna look up weather, and it knocked out of my hand. I was like, oh shit. And then within maybe 5 minutes, there was like zero visibility.
Mm.
To where we had to just pull off the road and stop because I was like, I can't drive.
Yeah, that's good. That's good times, man.
I've heard that Midwest weather.
Believe it or not,
Okay.
I did get stuck in cool traffic one time.
Tangent.
Cool traffic.
I don't want to.
You want to hear about the cool traffic real quick? What made it so cool?
I'm on the edge of my seat to listen to more about traffic and driving
It's just
and
really
flying
quick.
and
Well,
shit.
it was on the way to Vegas again during December.
Oh, good, Vegas.
Somebody like whatchamacallit, it's in the middle of the desert, a little bit past Baker. So
Okay.
so yeah, there's like a stoppage, and then it's like I'm like, damn it, this sucks. I'm out, and it's freezing and everything. Meanwhile, 3 cars up, a bunch of people, they're college age, get out of their car. There's snow on the ground. They start freaking having a snowball fight, and the traffic wasn't that long. I wasn't there that long. But that just made it
That's
cool.
pretty
I was
sweet.
like, that's the proper way to handle traffic, in my opinion.
That's pretty
Anyways,
sweet.
Please, with the tangent.
Why the fuck is it called Midwest? It should be Mid-East. It's dumb.
I actually heard I'm not sure if it's
That
factual or
tangent
not.
was so worth it.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Why is Chicago considered the Midwest when it's on the eastern side of the country? It's dumb.
I think the reasoning is, because I'm sure you weren't saying that jokingly. You were seriously asking.
Are you being serious? Because it's East
because
Coast
Chicago used to
centric.
be the West when
Yeah.
the country was developing.
I know that the term came back when California didn't exist, or when no one really believed that there was an ocean out there, when they were still just in the colonies and looking at the Rocky Mountains like, nope, nothing out there. All right.
That's the wall.
Yeah. But anyway,
Well, why do they call them parkways when you drive on them and driveways when you park on them?
go
That's an
fuck yourself, man.
outstanding-
Yeah. Dumb.
That's an outstanding question.
It should be called teeth brush, and you know it.
Why do they call them handcuffs when they go on your wrists?
Why does your nose run but your feet smell?
I haven't heard that one.
I heard that one somewhere. I forget where. I can't take credit for that one. But yeah, thank you.
All right, this is winding up. All right, everybody. Well, thank you.
We're
for...
obviously out of interesting things to talk about.
I actually had a couple
Did I-
topics, but we got a little out of hand with the traffic, so I just went with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we
We'll
did.
Do,
Okay,
we'll do your.
my
do
last
it next.
screen share. Yes, my last screen share though. Last screen
God.
share. I just want to make a comparison. Let our audience know. Okay, so for example, here's Victorville. When you're driving on the 15, because I know it likes to drive on the 15.
For those of you listening on Spotify, we're looking at an
Yeah.
overhead map on
of
Google
the
Maps.
15, and then you zoom out and look at. There's so much more Victorville, right? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
gross out there.
you go to Baker and you zoom out at Baker, and no, there's not.
nothing.
There's not a greater Baker area.
It's just nothing.
It's like
didn't even know
you
there was an
get.
airport.
Look at that. Ooh, look what's over here. There's a mountain and sand, and oh, look at that. Look at all that sand, and there's sand over here. Anyways, that's my point. Okay, I'm not going to beat it.
I've always been curious
ground, but-
about what people in Baker just do.
They work at Alien Jerky. They repair the world's largest thermometer, or
They collect their pension.
Or they work at the gas
that's
station.
true. That's true. Or you know what? They work at this new where is it? It's that array of Tesla chargers. That's absolutely amazing too. That used to be a hotel, and they just took the space, and it's all Tesla chargers. Are you guys seeing it? And I'm not.
Yeah,
Where's
no,
it?
we see it.
Okay. No, I'm. Where do you see where the Tesla chargers are? Because it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's
actually.
right there. It's right there. I'm pointing.
Oh my God, I'm serious.
Thank you. Well, I see it from the. It's not that big.
It's
a
imperative. It's imperative we find it.
They need a junior high there. What? Okay.
Well,
Can't they have one big classroom?
Maybe.
Anyways.
It is
You know-
weird. It is weird going to small towns of like just a couple thousand people and knowing they have a school and coming from an area where everyone in my grade was hundreds of kids, but then you pass through like Lee Vining near Mono Lake or something like that, and you see the congratulations graduating class of whatever, and you see 5 kids
Like they put their names
picture
on the board.
with their pictures up. Yeah,
That's
it's a
funny.
trip.
Oh, here
it's
it
a
is.
trip, but
Like, well, even like
oh, good, there it is.
Well, Eddie, real
Yeah,
quick,
thanks.
just zoom out again.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you closed it.
Okay.
That's fine.
No,
It's fine.
no,
It's
I'm
fine.
not-
It's fine.
But it was Baker. This is their moment in the sun. Yeah.
No, so because even when we saw the zoomed out, and that's what I was saying earlier, like with Baker, like that can't be more. Like Mitch, you just said the towns with a couple thousand. That can't be more than a couple
few
hundred.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
So I lived in Vegas for 3 years, so I drove up and down a lot. And the same blonde chick worked at the gas station I'd go to for all 3 years. Like I felt like I almost kind of got to know her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's what you do. You dig in, you stay there, you're comfortable, whatever. You know, there's a lot of people that are just comfortable doing that.
Now that's the California you need to get used to, Mitch. Instead of moving to North Carolina.
yeah.
Move to Baker.
I loathe the desert. Loathe it.
All right.
Dust,
Well, you're-
heat, and dry. Ugh.
You're gonna love the. You're gonna be a regular at Zaxby's and Bojangles, and
I love Bojangles. I actually love Bojangles. It's
I've
like-
never been there.
It's just fast food, chicken tendies, but
I
it's
I haven't been
but
to
it's
a
pretty
Waffle
good.
House. The last time I was at a Waffle House was 1983.
This episode brought to you by Bojangles and Baker Junior High.
Is Ruby Tuesday still even around? I don't know.
What's Baker Junior High? When well, you need to learn how to read. Baker Junior High.
You need
All
to
right.
learn how to read. This is the next best thing.
Now go
All right.
work at the Tesla charging station.
Yes, go work at the Del Taco. All
right.
And yes, Ruby Tuesday is still around. Go there.
Thank
Mitch.
you for listening to us and our critiques of traffic.
It was so worth
uh,
it. It was so worth it.
It's good time. Good to have Eddie back on.
Absolutely.
What's up, Eddie?
How you doing? Been a delay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna start doing a podcast actually on Microsoft 365 topics. That's gonna be kind of my own thing.
I love it.
Yeah, and I
I'll
might have
listen.
you guys as guests.
I'll
and I'll
guess the
tell
shit
this
out of it.
audience, I'll tell this frickin' audience, you guys got here's what it's going to be about. There's all these connectors. I was given a
Oh
presentation.
God, you're serious. You're going with it. Okay.
Presentation that had to go, that went on 2018 at Ignite. It listed 280 plus connectors to connect to Office 365. According to my coworker who runs Cloud Talk podcast, there are now over 800. So according to him, if that's my topic, I'm never going to run out of material. So yes, you're looking at Mr. Connector, King Connector, connecting Ed the Connector. You're looking at something with regards to that. So if you guys want to be a guest on that,
I'm all in, man. I'm all in. I'll be the reoccurring wild card guy that shows up and like, hey, what's up with the Windows 365? Why can't it be Doors 365? What's with all these windows? Why don't they have any blinds?
I was gonna say I'll be the person who shows up and is clearly dumb as fuck, where they ask all the questions. Oh, so what do you do here? What does that mean? Oh, I always thought it meant this. Then Eddie's like, no, Mike, let me explain it to you, and then just goes in on it, and I'm the whole time like, oh, yeah, of course.
Mitch, I have to tell you that that intonation made you sound like Mr. Meeseek's like surfing uncle. It was very interesting.
I was channeling my Justin Roiland a little bit, like, what's the deal with all that? Windows, man.
That's pretty good.
Computers are fucking stupid, Morty. But yeah.
So we've tried to outro like 5 times now.
Yeah. How about now?
That's
Okay.
that's
Bye.
it.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye. Fuck off.
Thanks, bye.